All right, hey, what's up, guys? Coach Mac, Play Fast Football. All right, today we're going to do a quick video for you on some things you can do to possibly help fix poor eye discipline or bad eyes. We've been guilty of that this year at a lot of positions on defense, so I'm going to kind of give you one or two of the things that we've done the last couple of weeks to possibly help fix bad eye discipline or poor eye discipline. Make sure you check out some of our sponsors, GameStrat, sideline replay system we use. If you're looking for highly reliable, highly affordable sideline replay system, check out GameStrat. JustPlay Football is the digital software I use to diagram plays. They also have quiz features that help educate your players on game plans and assignments, so check out JustPlay Football. Defensive Coordinator 1 is an in-game app that allows you to make, or helps you make, in-game adjustments based on actual live in-game data, so check out DC1. Difference USA, the ultimate striking machine. We have one in our weight room. Get thousands of reps without needing a partner. And it's perfect during times like this because all you have to do is wash the pad down. Afterwards, you wash the pad down. You don't have to worry about physical contact with another human being. So it's perfect in the off season, perfect during the season, and perfect during a pandemic. HighandTight, which is a ball training security or a ball security training aid that you use with your skill players. You have to hold the ball, split the tip. You have to hold the ball high and tight where it belongs with the proper points of pressure. Make sure it's against the rib cage, against the chest, elbow in, bicep, all right, forearm. All the points of pressure that need to be on the ball, locking it high and tight to the chest so that you hear the beat. If you do not hear the beat, you are not holding it correctly, so you get instant and immediate feedback. Baker Sports, which is the company that I use, local sports company, sports store that I use for our team apparel. All three of my Adidas uniforms are from Baker Sports. I use them for my spirit packs, use them for our coaches' items, and then we also use them, we build some fan shops and some online stores through them where they help outfit our fans and our coaches and administration and players. So make sure you check out Baker Sports. They've been outfitting teams since 1997. Dome Hats, the headwear sponsor of Play Fast Football and the local high school that I am at here. Dome Hats is a local company here in Northeast Florida, but they do national work. They have a custom online hat builder where you can generate your own custom hat through their website. Every hat has a story. Make sure you use Dome to help you tell your individual story about your program or your neighborhood, your town, your business, whatever it may be. Make sure you check out Dome Hats. All right, www.domeheadwear.co. All right, so we're talking about bad eyes. We're talking about poor eye discipline. We're talking about things that'll get you in trouble on the defensive side of the ball. Okay, so when we really realized how bad it was with our eye discipline, we didn't realize it first because when we first got out of, or when we first were allowed to start practicing again and actually doing some football work over the summer, we were so new and so green on defense with so many new players that we got away from some of the things we used to do, and we kind of went to some things we thought the kids could do. So for instance, we got away from spilling the football and we started boxing with our defensive ends because we didn't think our defensive ends could spill because they didn't show us they could spill the football. So we went to some schemes where we could box the football with our defensive ends. Well, didn't really play great football with that, and that didn't really work. And when we ran into trouble, I started looking at that and going, okay, well, we still have issues. What are the issues we have? So then we went back and tried to go back to our base defense, our base way of playing football, spilling things, setting good hard edges with secondary players, scrape exchanging linebackers, doing all the things that I've always preached on defense, and going back and playing defense the way we wanted to play defense, sending a fourth rusher and creating four-man fronts a little bit more. So we started doing that, and we still struggled a little bit. So I had a day where my defensive line coach couldn't be here, and I went down to do some drills with the defensive line, and I said, man, I'm going to focus on nothing but block rec drills and then strike and separation and punch and rolling our hips and punching with elbows in. And so we do about 8 minutes of block rec drills, and every time I step down, every one of them squeezes tight off my butt and squeezes down inside. And then we go do it, and we go do some strike stuff, and every one of them is able to get out of their stance, and they're able to strike elbows in, thumbs up, and they're able to roll their hips and separate. We were on a one-man sled. And we went from there and we went to team. And as soon as we went to team, all hell broke loose, and we didn't block rec, we didn't strike, we didn't do anything. So went back and watched the film and started looking at some things, and started trying to look at eyes and head placement, and you know, on film, things you could see with face masks and where they're looking. And so the next day in class, I started talking to some of the kids in class, and I said, all right, listen, if we're doing a block direct drill and I'm the tackle and you're the end and I step down, what do you do? And the kid does it. And I said, okay, if I block out towards you, what do you do? Kid bench press separates with his head in his gap. I said, if I pass set, what do you do? He comes towards me to make a pass rush move. So I said, okay, if you're telling me that you know what to do every time I give you a stimulus, and you show me that you know what to do every time I give you a stimulus, why can't we do it when we go 11 on 11 or when we go live on inside run? And kind of shook his head and said, I'm not really sure, Coach. I said, is it possible that you always look in the backfield as soon as we put a quarterback and a running back there? And he kind of put his head down for a second and said, yeah, Coach, I think I have a tendency to look back there. When there's nobody back there, it's easy for me. I have nowhere to look. So I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. The very next week, we were playing a team that was using a lot of jet motion, all right? And then off the jet motion stuff, they were running gap schemes. So what happens with the jet motion is it starts to get your eyes wandering to other places, right? So the jet motion comes and everybody in the world wants to run to the jet, even though the jet play itself is probably the least play run, and that kid gets the ball the least amount of everybody in that system of offense. Hell, when I ran that system of offense, it was the same thing. So the jet causes, it's more distraction for kids that have bad eye discipline. So when you already struggle with bad eye discipline, throwing the candy in front of them of the jet sweep motion is just more enticing for everybody. They see the jet come, all right, everybody wants to run to the jet. The problem is you've got to fit things based on schemes. You can't fit individual plays. So you can't just run guys to the jet and say, hey, we're going to fit the jet. You got to fit things off a blocking scheme so you can get players where they need it to be. All right, so I knew this. I knew that we were struggling with eye discipline, and I knew how much trouble this was going to give us because we were struggling with eye discipline against base stuff and no movement, and now all of a sudden they're going to throw some candy at us with jet motion. So what I did was I went out onto the practice field and I told the guys, I said, all right, listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to fit runs with no football, right? Now, some of you that have been watching this channel for a while know that I've talked about that before. It's an old school option trick. It's an old school trick when you're playing option teams to make sure that you have the dive, the quarterback, the pitch accounted for without guys being able to kind of peek and fall back where they think the ball might go. There is no football, so you have no excuse but to go to your assignment based on the stimulus you're getting and what your fit or your response is in a certain front or a coverage. All right, so we went out and we did it with no football. And the first time we did it, all right, it's, again, new group of kids, never done this with them before. First time we did it, the kids said, Coach, how do I know what to do? I said, what do you mean? They said, well, who's going to have the ball? I said, well, what does it matter who has the ball? If they're going to run, all right, power read, and they're going to double this and try and go back, and they're going to block that back, and they're going to hinge here, and they're going to pull up. All right, when we get jet motion, first thing we need to understand is we're going to kick back in the box a little bit. We're going to bump down, all right, and sky that side there. All right, and then we're going to take our left safety, depending on the coverage we're playing. We play it two different ways. But if we're playing at palms, we're going to kind of creep him down, and if they snap the ball, he's going to go and try and set the edge and make this block really tough. Okay, so we need, off the down block, we need a spill here. We need the 3 technique to stool and defeat the double. All right, so take on the post player really hard. When you get the climb player coming, all right, make sure you try and split the double so it can't get to the will. The will needs to see the back block of the center and the pull of the guard so he's ready to fit. And the Mike needs to see, once he bumps back in the box and he gets the double on the 3, all right, he goes to stack the end, and if the end spills, the Mike's ready to run the alley on the jet. The free safety is now looking at how they block the down safety. If they block the down safety, the free safety is going to trigger. Okay, and now on the backside, our right safety's folding into the box for runs coming back, and our corners essentially have no primary assignment in the run game, so they really don't. They need to worry about if we're playing palms off of 2. What's going on with 2 and 1, and if we go back down where we roll to sky, he's the deep half player taking all of 1, so they really don't have a necessary run responsibility. So now what I told all the kids is I said, look, this is very simple. Even without a football, when this play happens, this is the way it should be fit every time. And if that's the blocking scheme, then I need to see that the end spills, the double team gets defeated, or at least, all right, stalemated, so they can't try and climb to the will. I need to see the will's fit and how he triggers. I need to see the backside fold player and how he triggers. I need to see what we do with the left safety, and I need to see what the free safety does off the block. Okay, the other thing we do is we play it as a quarters theory. Depending on the split, we'll play it as a quarters theory, or what you guys may know as robber theory, and we'll play the safety out and the down safety out, the free safety in, and we'll play man on number 1. And now, depending on how this number 2 blocks, is how we're going to fit the jet action. All right, so if 2 blocks up and in, then we're going to fit and force the jet with him. If 2 works his way out to him, he's going to set an edge, and we're going to fit the alley hard with the free safety. So either way, either structure we do it, palms or box on the front side, I need to see how we are going to play that scheme. All right, that's the most important thing in the world. Then the next thing I do is I run the same motion and I run the counter scheme going back. All right, this is the toughest one to defend. You got to figure out exactly how you're trying to do it. All right, because you got to kind of tie your ends and your linebackers have to be tied together, and this is something we argue and talk about with my staff all the time, what we're reading and what we're looking at, because if your ends are going to be squeeze players, all right, and again, you can determine whether you want to do that to the open B-gap side, if you're going to sit to the 3 technique side. Either way you do it, you have to understand if your linebacker is going to be a sit player, if your end is going to be a sit player, then your linebacker had better run with pullers. If your end's going to be a chaser, then your linebacker better scrape exchange over the top. Now, most of the time, you get scrape exchange to the open B gap and not to the 3 technique. The 3 technique side is a lot of times a squeeze and pop player. All right, but the problem with that is when you get power at the 3 technique side, how does that kid know how to spill and not be a squeeze player? You got to talk about it by set, what the fullback does. A little bit too much thinking. So what we do sometimes when our kids are green, new, raw, is we chase everything and replace it with the backer. So what we started getting was this jet sweep here, and then what I did was I went, all right, well, let's go ahead and run counter. So let's run jet sweep, GT counter. All right, and let's make sure everybody is where they belong. So no football. I don't care where the football is. I'm just looking at it by assignment. So when I get this jet motion and this counter, if we're going to squeeze this, if this backside end is going to chase. Now here's the toughest part and why people don't do it. The back block on the 3 could screw up the chase of the defensive end. All right, so a lot of times you may not chase from the 3 technique side with the open A gap. You may only chase the open B gap side. All right, well, right now we are choosing to chase both sides, and we will get to squeeze and pop after we feel like we are where we belong, playing better defense. So all we're trying to do is we're trying to get this guy to understand inside releases down block, all right, as long as it's not just a hinge back towards you. If it's an inside down block, a zone away, or a pull inside, you don't care, you're trying to chase that. So by trying to chase that, what you're trying to elicit is a pull read. So now when you get a pull read, you're trying to take your backer and scrape exchange him over the top. So now to the jet sweep, you'd have your backer and your down safety getting ready to play the jet sweep. To the backside now, you're getting a hard down block from the 5 on the side of the 5 technique, so he's got to try and spill. When your will bumps back in the box and the right safety comes down and makes a sky call, now what's going to happen is the will is getting pullers back to him. He needs to stack that end and see what's going on. If that end spilled it, scrape paint, go outside. If for whatever reason that end went up the field and got kicked, put your foot in the ground and fit inside. So the will needs to come back and fit inside or out based off the end. The sky player starts to fold. Counter comes back, he's fitting outside the will. All right, and then again on the front side, depending on how we're playing it, I just want to see the trigger of these 2 on the jet scheme. So even though there's no football, I can still see all the things that I want to see from our guys, making sure that with the jet motion and the counter read or the power read gap scheme, when I get the jet motion, I make sure I understand everybody's where they belong. And then you try to teach your assistant coaches, hey guys, don't worry about the football. Where should your players be based on the scheme that got blocked? And then talk to them or watch film and say, all right, look, what are you reading? What did your read do? Where should you be? Don't worry about where the football is, okay? That's one of the only ways that you are going to help fix bad eyes, because bad eyes happen because kids want to look and find the ball. So they don't want to read their key, they just want to find the ball. So if you want to fix bad eyes, take the ball out, and it'll help you fix bad eyes. And then the other thing is, always make sure, all right, do the best you can to coach from in front. All right, which is tough to do a lot of times on defense. Where the coaches stand, you stand behind. If you stand behind, you can't see eyes. So a lot of times, if you're having bad eye discipline, and I'm a coach, coach them in front. So now as a D-line or a linebacker coach, I want to be behind the offense right there because I want to look at my helmets. I want to look at what my guys are doing. Okay, so take the football away, coach them in front. All right. Every drill you do, make sure you focus on what their eyes are doing. All right. If you can do those things, and eventually, hopefully, you can eliminate the need or the want to stare in the wrong places, look to find a football. Hopefully, you can get them to read their keys. Now, at the end of the day, you got to understand when a kid crosses the white line, and it's game night on Friday, and the lights come on, you have to ensure yourself that you've done everything you can to break the habit of where he wants to look. Because there's a good chance when everything starts happening really fast with fans and an opponent on a game field, a good chance he's going to revert back and try and look where he thinks he needs to look. So this is, you know, that old school mentality of just doing it over and over and over again until that kid understands that there is nowhere else to look but your read, your key. All right, hope that helps you guys. I appreciate everything you do for Play Fast Football. Thanks for following the channel. Make sure you turn on notifications so you know every time we do a video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, thumbs up, thumbs down to let us know whether you like the content or don't. Always leave a message if you want to get in touch with me. I reply or respond back to every message out there. Okay, and if you're playing football right now, good luck to you. If you're getting ready to start up soon, when things are safe enough for you to start up, good luck to you then. But all in all, 2020 will be over. This too shall pass, and we'll be back to normal. All right, guys, remember, you won't play well until you play fast. See you next time.